think yourself today, say over the last 2 to 3 years, where you said that discipline and that routine, it's like it's a part of you now, because you can look at people as though maybe it's like how you do one thing is how you do everything. You might be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but
Yeah,
then to develop that education and that ability to commit yourself to something as big as you have. Yeah, it's a huge. Did you, looking back, if you were a teenager now, would you see yourself in 5 years or maybe more than that, 7 years? Where you think you could, that would be you swimming and training and doing what you were doing?
absolutely not. Like I never would have dreamed that it would get to the point where it got to it. Like you always have images of how those people would feel, or how it's easy for people to get out of bed in the morning and do what they do because they love it. Of course they do, but no, it's not easy, and you got to push through it. But the happiness you get out of, or the satisfaction is a better way to put it, that you get out of doing that stuff that's really hard to do, has just made it feels like it's made my life at least 10 times better, just on the fact of having a good routine and being fit and content, and that sort of stuff has really made my life much, much better than what I would have viewed it as when I was back at college in 2016, and just really, when I was just kind of living for the pleasure of things and doing uni, and like I was just enjoying myself in my free time. It wasn't as much about having a big striving goal,
Mm.
and I think it's changed my life completely. And so my view of what it was like back then to what it actually is like has been completely different, but it's also been much, much better than what I could have thought it would be.
How's it different to what you expected when you
Oh,
first
you
got it?
think it's all going to be, glory and fun and ease, and I think as a kid you romanticize it a lot. You think it's going to be really, wow, I went to the Olympics. Like his life is complete, like he's happy, he gets everything. I don't know. You just have a very mixed, from my perspective. Like maybe it's not true for everyone, but I feel like it's easy to have a really misconstrued opinion of people because you look at them from the perspective of them having done it. You never look at someone who's on the ladder. You look at the people at the top of the ladder, and you think like, wow, it must be cool to be them. But you don't see the 95% of grind below them.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was 3
absolutely.
years there where I couldn't get support. I was working at the RSL to pay for what I was doing, and no one really believed I was going to do what I did, and like yeah, it was a bit. The only support I had was out of my parents. But then once you do it, like the change of the messages you get in Instagram, even, or things from old school friends coming towards you, and picking up the past, it's like, hey, we saw you in the paper today. That's incredible that you did that. But they never saw like the 4 years leading into it, or reached out in that time. It's just it's the idea of, as though you cross this threshold, you become a different person. Like it's like I'm exactly the same as I was 4 years ago. I've just been through stuff to change my opinion of what it's like. Yeah,
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 that's and I mean, the it is a grind to be an elite level swimmer like yourself. A friend of mine, Sam Ashby, Geelong now, but he was up with Glenn Baker a number of years, and he would tell me about some of the sets that they were doing. He was a butterflyer. Some of them
yeah,
were like, it's
yeah,
like 50/50s of fly, all at
yeah,
like 200 pace,
yeah,
and I trained up there for one session when I stayed with him, and I think it was 3100, 115, and I wasn't making that.
yeah,
So it's like just some hard training, and it's
yeah.
and when you're that fatigued every day, like were there times where you were questioning your decision up there, or where you were like, oh, yeah, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, not in terms of the overarching, like, am I doing the right thing for swimming, as much as like there were absolutely times when I questioned, is this what's best for me? Like, is my body doing good here? Because I'm always so, because Glenn, his coaching I think it's what I needed as well. Because my issue was discipline, and he's still quite old school in his style of coaching. He's like the old days of Dennis Cottrell of like more is more. I feel relative to some other programs, but everyone has their own way that they focus their work.